¿Qué tal a toda la gente del periódico La Roca en una edición más de esto que es Metalomania, este espacio donde traemos talento tanto local como nacional, internacional? Y el día de hoy me siento súper honrada de tener conmigo a Marco Pastorino, que es de la banda Temperance, que va a estar presentándose muy pronto por acá por México. Y no solo de Temperance, también está en Serenity, así que vamos a platicar de cómo combina esta pasión por la música y hace pues que todo funcione. Marco, how are you?
Hey, everything is fine. I'm so glad to be here. And honestly, my Spanish is terrible, but as Italian, I can understand some stuff here and there. So, yo soy Marco de la banda Temperance. That's it.
Muchas gracias. Y, okay, we are super excited because next start will be here have Temperance for the very first time in Mexico, yeah.
Per la primera vez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Primera vez en Mexico, and then you continue this tour on Japan, then the UK, in Europe. So it's a huge moment for the band, right?
Sure. So basically, we already played tons of shows this year because at the end of January, at the beginning of February, we played on the 70,000 Tons of Metal, the cruise in US and Caribbean Sea. And then we did a tour, Serenity and Temperance, so double work for me, in Europe for 16 shows overall Europe. And now, yes, there will be Mexico next week, then Japan the week after. Then there will be a small break, and then in May there will be the tour in UK. We'll do all the countries because we'll play England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, North Ireland. At the end of May, Spain, and then there will be a few festivals this summer, and probably there will be something more during the next fall, next winter.
I was seeing this flyer for the UK shows, and also it's very huge. So you are playing in Sirenia too. So how can you combine this like playing the guitar and singing, and it's a very hard work for you, or?
No, it's not, because I mean that's my first reason in this life, honestly, and it's my favorite thing in life. I have to say the previous tour, Serenity and Temperance in February, was a little bit was a lot for me because I played double shows in a row every night. And during the afternoon soundcheck with both bands, the VIP session with Serenity, and at the end of the Serenity show, I used to run at the merch to meet the people there, and so it was it was very I wouldn't say stressful because it's not stressful, but it was intense.
Yeah, running side to side and check out the stuff for both bands, and like you say, the merch, the sound, everything.
Exactly.
And how is the Italian scene? Because we know that Temperance, it's a Italian metal band. If you like symphonic metal, melodic metal, stuff like that, you are in the metal scene from Italy. So how's the scene there? Because here in Mexico we have a huge metal scene, so sometimes it's hard to hear all the bands.
No, sure. I mean, I think the first melodic metal scene in Italy was around 2000, so 25 years ago, with tons of amazing bands like Vision Divine, Rhapsody, Labyrinth, and Secret Sphere back then. And then on 2008, I entered in the band Secret Sphere. I played with them for 8-9 years. So we played tons of shows all over Europe, Japan, everywhere. But I really think that nowadays the scene is pretty cool because, I mean, besides Temperance, we have tons of successful bands. For example, I think now the most successful one is Wind Rose, because they are from Tuscany, and they are in the scene since I think 12 years, 13 years. But they work extremely hard during the years, and they totally deserve this success because, I mean, sometimes not only in Italy, but in the entire scene, you can see some bands that maybe just with one album, just with one tour, they can reach tons of people and good success for the beginning. And then you can see hard workers like Windrose, and they work their asses a lot during the years. And now they're conquering the world, because I think right now they are in US. They will come in Mexico, and then
in some months. I don't remember the month, but
I think
yeah.
I think during summer, during the European summer, they will be in Mexico and South America. So it's pretty cool, but we have tons of amazing bands. If I have to talk about all bands, I think we have to stay here for 1 week.
Yeah, it's a huge scene, because I remember the first bands that I heard from there was a Rhapsody. So
Okay.
The impact was crazy, and now we have a lot of them. So sure. Temperance is started more or less in 2014.
2014, and that's the 10th anniversary of Temperance. And honestly, it's so cool to be to have a chance to reach Mexico after 10 years.
Yeah. And personally, for me, Jupiter and Moons, it's one of my favorite albums. So
cool, thanks.
So it's some past time, but now you are releasing the Hermitage, and now it's out now, the orchestral version. So
today
we were talking about this new album with the Hermitage, the orchestral version, and that you have a lot of guests on this album, right? Like Arjen Lucassen, Fabian Erni from LUAT. How was to work with some legends? It's a kind of conceptual album, or
exactly.
How was to work with them?
So you're totally right. It's a concept album. It's the first concept album of Temperance. Honestly, I dream about an album like this for years, but it was a huge amount of work. So we decided to do it only when we found the right inspiration to do it. And about the collaboration, yes, we have Arjen Lucassen, Fabian Erni, Laura Fella from Faun, and Alessandro Conti from Trick or Treat at Twilight Force, one of my best friends in the scene. And it was very cool because, I mean, since it's a concept album, we decided to give a proper voice to every character of the story, because for this album I wrote a story, and we released the story in a book also that we released on our web store months ago, but now it's sold out. But anyway, so we decided to involve some of the best singers of the scene, but we decided to get in touch with singers of our generation. For example, I think Laura from Faun, she's as my age, probably around 35. Fabienne, she's a little bit younger than me. Alessandro Conti, I think, is a little bit older, but I mean, we decided to get in touch with people of our generation. I think it could be great to have, I don't know, Michael Kiske, or I don't know, Eric Adams, or someone like these singers, but they are from another generation. So we decided to give a proper voice for this character of the concept with these singers. And last but not least, as you said before, we have Arjen Lucassen as narrator. And I have to say, Arjen gave us the inspiration to write, but especially to release this album, because a few years ago he released an amazing concept album called Transitus, and it's still one of my favorite Aerian album.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most successful one, because it's a little bit complicated. It's a more musical than the other prog metal operas he did in the past.
But for the story, right? It's like more on that side, like a story, not so much like into music.
Exactly.
Because it's hard to process that album.
Very, very hard. But then when we thought about a narrator, I had the idea to try to get in touch with Arjen, because I think a couple of years ago I released a vocal cover of Airion, and he sent me a message.
Wow.
So then I decided to get in touch with him. And at the beginning, he was not sure to be the narrator, because he said something like, "Hey man, my voice sucks, so I don't think it's a good idea." But then we talked a little bit, and luckily he said yes. And I think he did a fantastic job on the album.
And it's very catchy, the melodies. You have on Temperance a vocal track, so that makes them more focused on melodies and harmonies and everything. And I think that the guest fits all very well on this album. And now you have this orchestral version. So how you decide to make it for this month? Because this album already released last year. So now you decide to make it online this month.
So basically, since this album is more symphonic and with more orchestral elements, we worked so hard on that. And honestly, I don't remember where this idea came from. But we received some messages and some comments here and there. And I think some fans and some friends suggest this idea, saying, there are so many elements in this album, so many vocal layers, so many orchestral stuff. It would be great to have something like, I don't know, Nightwish or Sabaton. And if I remember right, also Powerwolf, they did this kind of orchestral version with only the orchestra and some piano.
Yeah.
And we said, why not? Let's do it. That's my motto. So, and it's a very easy process, because we had already all the tracks. We only added something more, because only the orchestra is not easy to manage, because in the album you have maybe 12 vocal layers, then you have the drums, tons of guitars, and it's the combination about everything. But with the orchestral version only, you have only the orchestra and piano. But I'm extremely satisfied about the result, and I think it will be a very cool gift, especially for the diehard fans of the band.
Yeah, I think it's already online, so I just can hear before this interview 1 or 2 teams, so I can wait to hear all completely.
Oh.
And you now are working with Napalm Records. We know that it's a huge music label who have a lot of amazing bands. Who is working with them? Because we know that it's hard sometimes, you have these plenty bands, and sometimes can be I don't know, a little bit scared, but how you manage to work with them, with Napalm Records?
I have to say we're not scared at all about this, but the thing is, in this kind of label you have always good and bad side of the story, okay? Because the good side is you have probably nowadays the biggest metal label in the world, and that's pretty cool because they have an amazing distribution, and most important thing for me, they have a fantastic crew, because the people that are working with you, they're amazing. Our production manager, she's amazing. Our girl in the promotion, again, she's amazing. But then for sure the best side is we are not the most important band of Nepal, but there's a reason why we're not the most important band, because we are not the band that's selling more. They have bands like Alter Bridge, Powerwolf, so huge bands. That's the best side of the story, but you have to find a balance between the good and the bad, as always in life, I think. And I mean, we are quite happy about the stuff we did with Nepal in these 4 years, because we released already 3 albums with Nepal, and 2 digital album, because 3 years ago we released an acoustic album on digital market, and now this orchestral edition.
So it's a lot of time with them. 3 albums, it's a lot, because I don't know, maybe you release an album 1 year and then a break for a year or something. How many years?
Depends, because I mean, in these 10 years we released 7 studio albums plus 1 DVD and basically 2 digital albums. So it's 10 releases in 10 years. It's crazy. And but we are a touring band, so we just had this discussion in another interview, and I think we are around 320 shows in 10 years.
Wow.
But you have to think that, for example, in the first years we used to play less, and then for sure during 2020, 2021 and 22, for the COVID situation, basically we played 4 shows every year.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible to play live. So you the bands start to do things like online. So
exactly.
It was not the same, right?
No, exactly. It was totally different.
Okay, and we can expect for the band at the first side, because you are gonna have these amazing tours worldwide. And then what is the plan for Temperance to enter to the studio, to record some things, to write some things, and then tour again? So
that's a cool question, because actually almost no one is asking this just a few months after the release of an album. That's the reason why I think it's a cool question. But for example, I never stopped to write stuff. That's basically my job and my reason to live, as I said at the beginning of the interview. So I keep on writing stuff every day of my life. But so far, since we released Hermitage just 5 months ago, there's no rush to record or release a new album this year, for sure, not at all. But I mean, we used to release an album every year and a half or every 3 years. So let's see. We still want to play some shows this year. There will be Mexico next week, then Japan, then UK, Spain, and just 3 or 4 shows during summer. Summer will be a break for Temperance. And then next fall, probably there will be another tour. And then probably we'll go directly on 25 to do something more. So right now, there's not a lot of plans to release new stuff. But as always, I'm writing stuff. And I'm already extremely happy about some tracks I finished to write in the last weeks.
Yeah, we can see in the near future if Temperance will have another conceptual album, or who knows. We need to keep in touch with you
Sure.
guys. And we can expect for this next Mexican tour, because it's the first time from Temperance, and there are 3 dates. I think it's Monterrey, Mexico City, and Guadalajara. So we can expect songs for the new album, everything, or old songs, or what can we can see.
So we will play a special set list in Mexico and also in Japan, for example. And for sure, since it will be a headliner show, and we just released the new album Hermitage, we will be focused on this album. So we'll play, I think half of the set list will be taken from the latest one.
Okay.
But then, as always, we'll play the bestseller of Temperance. I mean, some tracks from Jupiter Moon, some tracks from Diamanti, and whatever. So, but it will be very cool, and we really can't wait to be there. Also, because some of our die-hard fans during the last 10 years, they are from Mexico. So it will be the very first time for us to meet them. It's very, very cool. And no matter if there will be 100 people, 300 or just 50, because it will be the first time for us there. And we really want to start to build up something real, because usually without gigs, you can have something, but then you have to go in this country, for example, in Mexico, and play in front of people, because our music, luckily, is still real. So we have to play in front of real people, and not only on YouTube or Spotify or whatever.
Yeah, and that's a great part, to connect with people, to connect with fans, with band, and with the band, and that's like a very closer connection. And I think you will love, because here in Mexico we are very crowdy, very energetic at concerts. So I think it's a great opportunity to meet us.
Exactly, and I think it's a good start, and I'm quite sure that after this we'll try to come back in the next years again and again and again, since our fan base will grow and grow.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for your
Marco.
time.
No, thank you. And something you want to say to fans who will watch this interview in Piedad?
Sure. So, Mexican fans will be there for the very first time in our career next week, on April 11th, April 12th, and April 13th. We'll play Monterrey, Guadalajara, and Mexico City. It will be special because it will be the first time for us. And honestly, I think for everyone in the band, it will be the first time in Mexico, also beside music. So it will be a fantastic experience, and we really can wait to see all of you there. So get your ticket now, and see you in 1 week.
Yay, thank you so much, Marco, for your time.
Thanks for your time.
See you next week.
Yes, see you next week. Ciao.
Ciao.